Coming to you straight from Fremont, California, this is the Fremont Podcast, dedicated to telling the stories of the past and present of the people and places of the city of Fremont, one conversation at a time. Now, here's your host, Ricky B.
Hello, Fremont. You're listening to episode number 38 of the Fremont Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me this week. It is always a pleasure to know that you are listening in on the conversations that are happening around the city of Fremont. And this week's conversation is a big one. And what I mean by big is I have 5 different people that join me for this conversation so that we can talk about the Better Block that is going to be taking place in a couple weeks here in Mission San Jose. But before we get to that conversation, here is a word from our sponsor.
Gary Williams here. Some friends of mine are making a difference in the community, and one of the ways they're doing that is helping to sponsor this podcast. Petrocelli Homes Realty Group is a boutique brokerage service located in downtown Niles. John and Jennifer Petrocelli have had the honor of helping countless buyers and sellers make effective real estate decisions to plant their roots, raise their families, expand their wealth, or simply relax and retire. So if what I've described is what you might be looking for in a realtor, I suggest getting in touch with Petrocelli Homes on Niles Boulevard in downtown Niles.
How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good. What's your name?
Steve K.
Steve. How long have you lived in Fremont?
We've lived in Fremont for 35 years.
Oh my goodness, wow, that's awesome. What part of Fremont do you live in?
We live in North Fremont in the Brookvale section.
Okay,
Yeah.
Very cool. What are some of the things that you remember about Fremont that you like, maybe good memories or...
Well, when we moved here, we first got married. It was a old town type of community.
Yeah.
A lot of people knew everybody else, and it was friendly.
Yeah.
Good pace of life.
Yeah.
Good, friendly people. A lot of good things. Just a great place to raise a family.
Is there anything that you missed?
Yeah, Father Time's catching up with me. I'm getting older. I mean, we raised 2 kids over the years,
Okay.
and they're moved out, moved away, and starting their own families
Okay.
and those types of things. And that's cool. That's about it.
Yeah. What brought you out to Dale today?
Well, we heard they had a pretty good sale. And Dale's always been a great store to do business with.
Yeah.
Taking care of home needs or needs for your car or anything like that. I mean, you can get the tools, and especially with the home repairs and such, they have people here who are knowledgeable.
Okay.
You come in, you can
That's great.
Get the right materials and stuff, and it's not like the big box store, and there's a lot more personal service here.
That's great.
So
That's
you
great.
come here to do that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking a moment to talk with me today.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. What you just heard was one of the conversations that I had with a customer who was finished up with their shopping at Dale Hardware and were checking out on their way home. And they stopped and talked with me to share a little bit about their experience and memories of the city of Fremont, and to also share about their experience as a Dale Hardware customer. As you know, Dale Hardware is one of our sponsors, and so we are glad to be able to talk about them and to share with you all that they have to offer in our community. This week's episode is focused on an event that's about to take place on September 9th and 10th right here in Fremont in our Mission San Jose district. Better Block is a nonprofit organization that works together with the city all over the world, primarily in the United States, but they help to put together a block party that helps people in that neighborhood see what might be possible if they were to develop the neighborhood and work together with the community to try to make the neighborhood a better place. In this conversation, I get the opportunity to sit down with a small group of the committee that has been formed to help lead and put together the Better Block. So here is that conversation. Well, this is a special episode that I've never had this many people on an episode before. I'm sitting out in the back patio of Mission Coffee with 5 others who are part of the committee that has come together for the Better Block event that'll be happening in September. Right here in the Mission San Jose community. And so, and the noise that you hear in the background is because things are getting better as we speak. We have some construction going on here off the patio, so if you hear noise, we are outside, and there is work going on around us. But I'm going to try to introduce everybody briefly to let you know who's on the podcast. I'm going to start with Gail. Gail is the owner of Mission Coffee, and we're sitting on her patio right here in behind Mission Coffee. So, Gail, tell me a little bit real quick about your story. I know that we were just talking about this, but tell me a little bit about your story when you started, when you became the owner of Mission Coffee, and just a little bit about yourself.
So our actual legal name is Mission Valley Coffee Roasting because we started in Fremont probably 30 years ago, 1993. And we've had little anniversary gatherings along the way, but probably this Christmas, it'll be 30 years, and we're going to have a bash. I think for a business to last 30 years anywhere is pretty remarkable these days, especially with what we've all been through with the pandemic. And my husband had been laid off. I was working in nonprofit management, and we decided, because we love coffee, and we had a couple of, and our kids were baristas and working in coffee houses in the San Jose area. We decided, well, you know what? We go there, we help them out periodically. Maybe we ought to think about this as a future. So we did a lot of research, probably 3 years worth of research.
And this was back in the early 90s, is that right?
And so we're, like I said, we're second wavers. And we were like more the micro roasting, befriended a person.
And that was really before, the second wave coffee was definitely before a lot of the coffee shops that we see now across the Bay Area. But that was early on. So you were actually kind of ahead of the game at that point, I think.
Well, it was actually really exciting because most places were getting coffee from like Montanos Brothers or San Francisco, and they had these huge systems, and we didn't want to do that. There was a guy in Willow Glen who was really Matt Cullen, and he was very befriended my husband, and they would sit hours and talk, and next thing I knew, we were soaking it up like sponges, literally. We were a coffee bean experience because coffee beans soak up.
Wow. Yeah.
Fragrance, odor, all kinds of stuff. So it was very exciting. And I tell my staff now, I probably have forgotten more than I could ever teach them. Now.
Yeah, right. But you didn't start in this location either. No. Yeah, so you were originally down
in the Mission Valley Shopping Center, where there's a Lucky's and an Arco station and a Fremont Bank. It was a little village. And we drove up and we were researching different places. We were actually going to do a place in San Jose. And we both got overwhelmed with the location because we saw the logistics of it and what would happen, and how, we were just starting up, and to walk into that environment we felt was a little too much. We wanted a closer knit community, and we wanted a sense of, I'll just say, when I walked into the local little pharmacy, drugstore / gift store in that shopping center, many of the people my age bracket and a little bit older will remember, it's across from Kimber Woods Park. I walked in there, and the back, there was a post office. And I walked in and I got all emotional. And I said to my husband, I think this is it.
Wow.
This is the place. This area is the place. This is what I grew up in. We need this sense of community.
That's awesome.
And the rest is history in terms of what we did and how long we've been here.
That's awesome. Well, I think a lot could be commented on, because I think you have helped develop the sense of community in this area.
Thank you.
You didn't end up in San Jose, but you ended up in Mission San Jose, which we're grateful for that. And we'll hear more about your heart regarding this community in just a little bit. But I'm going to go to Robert next. Robert's joined me. He's the youngest of the group that's here. So, Robert, how long have you lived in Fremont?
I've lived here for 21 years, my whole life.
Your whole life, okay.
Just turned 21 a few days ago.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thank you. And I've been here my whole life. my parents settled down. I don't even know when. Probably late '80s, early '90s.
Okay.
Settled down here, and they were first more in Irvington, and then they moved up here, and they've been here the rest of the time, and they've seen a lot of change in this community. And I grew up here. I saw a lot of things change, and I saw that a lot of the community I was a part of. And so, for example, Christmas we would go to Las Posadas, which was a thing where we'd go to various
that's the caroling thing that they do from the mission up here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we would go to Mission Coffee.
Yep.
Gail was kind to have us.
Was she one of the
times.
ones that would reject you? Because I understand that the way that works is you go and say, "Is there room for us?" And then they would say. And
yes, Gail was the one who was rejecting us.
You?
Yes,
okay, yeah.
And then she would let us in.
No room.
Yeah, no room.
Good.
And then it was lovely, and I really enjoyed that. And other things in the community, I love this place.
Yeah, and you graduated from Mission San Jose High School?
I did not.
Okay.
My parents actually pulled me out of public school because of the budget cuts that happened,
Okay.
and so they were cutting the science program, and they did not like that, so they sent me to private school.
Okay.
But
now you're a scientist?
No, I'm not a scientist.
Okay.
I am going into engineering though. So
okay, that's
it was
good.
necessary.
That's good.
Yeah. But yeah,
that's great.
So that's
awesome.
A lot of my story.
All right, good. Two others that I have with me. I have Sherry, who I got to sit down and have a long conversation with the other day. She's the one that reached out to me and asked me to come and talk with them about the Better Block event that'll be happening here. But Sherry, tell us a little bit about your story and how long have you been here in the Mission San Jose Fremont area?
Okay, so I've lived in Fremont and Mission San Jose since over 30 years. So early 90s, about 91 or so. So my kids grew up here, attended Mission San Jose Elementary, Hopkins, Mission, St. Joseph's. So pretty involved in the community through the schools. And then also I like to be involved in my community. So I volunteered. I've worked at 2 nonprofits and just like to be connected. And a lot of those things ended between kids aging out of school and pandemic and all that. And I just know there's so much potential in Mission San Jose. And I think back to like things that have been here over the years that we would walk to. I don't know if Gail will remember, there used to be 2 froyo places, one at Ohlone Village and one along Mission Boulevard. And we kind of lived in the middle. So it'd be like, which one should we walk to tonight? And then they both closed like kind of within a short period of time. And it was just like, it was really nice because you could like walk somewhere and it's much more pleasurable on a nice summer evening to take a walk. So there's always been so much potential that never really came to fruition. And so when I heard about this, it was one, I'd love to see if something can come out of it. And also I was ready to kind of get back out there in the community and be with people and get to see people again. And so for both reasons, I'm excited about this event.
That's awesome. That's really, really great. And then Dorba? Dorba. All right. Dorba is our resident local artist for this event here. So tell me a little bit about your story and what brought you to this Fremont to Mission San Jose.
So we moved to the Mission San Jose area in 2000, and it was primarily because of the school. We moved out for a couple of years for my husband's work, but we've been here since then. Both my girls have gone through the Mission San Jose Elementary, Hopkins, Mission San Jose High School. My older one's a senior right now at the high school. I've been really involved with volunteering in all the schools and in the community. I teach art over here, and I love this
Do you
place.
teach art in the schools or do you teach privately?
I teach privately, but I also taught one semester at Mission San Jose Elementary. It was a PTC-funded event just before the schools had all shut down due to pandemic.
Okay.
And I love this area.
Wow.
I come to Mission Coffee at least, once a week or once in 2 weeks.
That's great.
So
That's
and
great.
I'm really looking forward to what this event is going to kind of, create and bring forth, and pretty excited about the art too.
That's awesome. Well, I was going to say, I think that, when you think about all the people, and because all of the people that I've mentioned, and I've got one more person, but all the people I've mentioned so far are a part of the committee. Is that right? The committee that's been formed to help bring this event together. But I think that when you form a committee like this, it's really important to have different people who have different experiences, different skills, different perspectives. And so I think of, wanting to have an artistic perspective or bring an artistic mind to it, or somebody who's been here in the community and has worked really, really hard to create a business that has survived for so long and actually not just survived, but thrived in a big way. So I think all these people, even younger people who've grown up here and it's been their home, Robert, it's been your home for your whole life. So all these things are really, really helpful. I've got one other person here. I'm going to have her grab the microphone here real quick. So Candace is also with us, and I met Candace first a few months ago. We had a Zoom call with the Department of Economic Development here in Fremont. So Candace is the city's representative of this event. So we've all kind of referred to the Better Block event or this coming event. And so Candace, can you tell us specifically what is this event? What is the event that we're talking about? What is the Better Block?
Yeah, sure. So we're partnering with a nonprofit based out of Dallas called the Better Block Foundation, and they work all across the world, mostly in the United States, but they've done some projects also internationally on really creating very community-based events in public space. And so there are two goals that really excited us when we first learned about them. Is one, they really want everything to be driven by the community, and so they do an extensive amount of community feedback and then use that to base the structure of the event. And two, they focus on doing the events in the public space and looking at areas that might be underutilized or be able to use a little bit more change and investment over time, and kind of test out some temporary things that we can kind of see what works, what doesn't, and tweak things for the long term.
Okay, so it's kind of an experiment, or maybe even sort of a temporary laboratory idea where it's basically saying, here's a space that's kind of been run down or has been untouched or whatever for a little while, but imagine what could be done if everyone kind of came together and focused on making this particular area better. Is that basically kind of the way that things are supposed to be with this?
Yeah, number one, it's a fun block party, and it's an opportunity for people to come out and get together in the community. And then number two, on the back end, we're collecting data from it and seeing things that work and using it as a test in the future to show other businesses or community members, look what can happen when we all come together. Okay. So it's kind of fun comes first, but there's definitely that data collection side of it, and there's going to be a report at the end done by the nonprofit. Yeah.
And is that something that you work together with Better Block or the organization to kind of come up with that data, and or is that just something that you guys are doing as a city team?
Yeah, we work together with them. They have insights, from all of their experience putting other ones on like this, and we've talked to them about kind of the background and things we're looking at, but they'll do the report. So it's really great that it's coming from this kind of outside third party who's seeing things with fresh eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, and they call it a placemaking event. So it's, you're making a place.
Okay.
So the point is to inspire the community to either continue it on or like modify it, stuff like that, so that this can be a place to go to, a place to be in for the community.
So that's great. I love that placemaking. So I'm curious, from those of you all of you that are here, whoever would like to chime in, when you think of this area, like when you think of what it once was, or what it's been at its peak, whenever that may be, or when you think of the kind of things, the potential that exists here in this community, and then you think of this particular event, the Better Block, what are some of the things that you imagine or that you would desire or that you hope for the Mission San Jose community, specifically in this particular area?
Well, for me, I want to be able to live here for hopefully my whole life. I love this place. And the way it is right now, there's not a lot of amenities that tailor to me. The 7-Eleven left, the Starbucks left. My mom would drop me off there every once in a while. And, there's not a lot for me to do. And so what I want to see is things for me to do, places for me to go. And, that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
So.
That's great. What about the rest of you?
For me, yeah, I would like to see some fun stuff. I know Fremont, close by, we had a bowling alley that's kind of gone under. Something fun to do here, some more local businesses where young kids and even people like us, I won't say we're old, but like middle-aged, we would like to have some
Matured.
Yeah. Yes, mature. Something fun to do, something interesting to do. Some place where we can sit and share ideas, or art. I would love to see a place where we have so many storefronts. Maybe have art.
Museums,
displayed here. Yes, a small art gallery. And it could be a co-op run by artists or run by the city. I know we have Olive Hyde, but something where there's more turnaround in showing art by local artists. Have open studios by artists, right? Place for artists to show their work.
That's great.
So that's great. That's what I'm looking for.
What else? What else do you guys imagine, or what have you seen in the past that you think this would be really great to have around again?
Not such okay. I made the reference before to like walking. You could walk. There's a lot of residents in this area, right? You want to be able to just take a nice walk, and now we even have like the pathway, the Saber Cat Trail that connects some neighborhoods, and that's going to be expanded a little bit, I believe. So to get to this area like Washington, Mission Boulevard, where we're sitting right now, that you can walk and get something to eat. You can walk and sit down and have a glass of wine, maybe some music to entertain. Like we all envision other cities around here that we all travel to, because there's nothing like that in Fremont. So even at a smaller scale, just in our own neighborhood here, to not have to go outside. And we drive too much, and so be able to walk would be really nice. Some gathering places, like I also envision like a little plaza area, and especially with the Mission right there, I always think back like in San Luis Obispo, when you walk outside of that Mission, if you go there to visit in 4th grade and you step outside.
My son is in 4th grade this
well,
year,
go.
and we're looking.
Go. Okay.
And so we were talking about this the other day.
Right.
I remember specifically you were saying when you go to that Mission, you walk out and there's so many things to do. And what you were saying about this Mission.
Yeah, here I've like driven by and I can see families walking out, and then they're like, well, we got to just get in our car and drive away because there's nothing else to do right in this corner. And I'm sure they like, look, is there any place we can go get some lunch? And then they go. So like to see like you walk out onto the Mission steps and you can see like, oh, there's things right over there. Let's like head out that way, which would be great, not just for us in the neighborhood, but also people who come visit. There's certainly many people that come visit the old Mission, and businesses that can take advantage of that. So gathering places to go grab something to eat, something to drink, hang out.
A nice wine bar, a couple of restaurants, like you said, that would be nice.
Yeah. Gail, what are you've been here as a business owner for a long time, 30 years, coming this Christmas. So I'm curious, as you think about all the things that have happened over the years, and even the way things are now. Like, what are some of the things that you have appreciated about this community over the years? And maybe some of those are long gone, but what are some of the things you've appreciated, and what are some of the things that you feel would be a benefit to the community?
I think that I came when the old school was the old school, and before it was, there's an area on Mission Boulevard that was built by Mark Robeson, a developer, and out of all the developers in the Fremont area, I think he was the most visionary of the area in terms of, and he had my support, and I supported him in a lot of his projects. And he supported me in a lot of my nonprofit things because he saw that I cared. Okay. Yeah. And he converted the old Mission. I mean, the old school, where now the tree is never gone. It's always been there. But every Christmas we have a tree lighting ceremony. The Mission San Jose Chamber puts on a tree lighting ceremony. And that is probably, since I've been around, it's the longest thing that I've participated in. And I remember when the old school had a little deli area, and they had soups. You went in there and you got cups or bowls of soups to go. They didn't even have any seating there. That's where, and you like took your life in your hands going up the stairs to get a bowl of soup. But that's what it was. I mean, that's how old.
Yeah.
I mean, even though I lived in San Jose, I I was coming up here, Old Mission San Jose Road, because there wasn't 680.
Wow.
And they had antique stores. That's how long I've been around this area. I was newly married and was collecting antiques. So, yeah, I've seen a lot of change. A lot of these older buildings were antique stores. There was an Aloni Arts, that actually was a frame shop and had artwork hanging, and was it was really vibrant.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, you know. That's why it breaks my heart is to see how buildings have emptied. Landlords have not given startups the opportunity. They don't want to take a chance. They'd rather put in a tutoring center where they know that they're going to get their rent every month. And slowly, people that the Cheese Taster's was here forever.
I love that place.
Somebody used to say, well, they're your competition. I said, no, we're coffee with food.
Right.
They're an amazing old school deli.
Yeah.
And I said, they're not. I don't believe that any restaurant that comes in up here is competition.
Sure.
All we can do is enhance each other.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
look at Niles.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And when the Vine was in Niles
Yeah.
and all
Right.
of that. I
Yeah.
mean, and now the Skillet has lines out the door.
Yeah. It is interesting. I'm not a marketer, and I don't know the psychology behind it all, but I remember one time hearing, I think it may have been a podcast, but they talked about the way marketing works is like oftentimes you'll find a Lowe's across the street from a Home Depot, and they do that not because they're not. It's not an accident. They're like, oh, I thought we were going to be here first, and then they showed up. They do it because everybody knows that if they are working on projects at their home and they need to get a product, they can go to one store, and if it's not there, they can go to another store, and so then all of a sudden it starts attracting a larger amount of people to that one area because everyone knows I can go to that particular area and get what I need. And I think that that's one of the ways that it would be helpful to think about, restaurants and stuff as well. It's like they're not your competition.
No.
They're the ones that are more people will come here if there's more opportunities, and then it creates more opportunity for the small businesses.
And it makes the current business that's there more challenged.
Yeah. Yeah.
And makes them be more creative.
Make them be better.
Because that's what I'm doing right now.
Right.
Yeah. Because I want to not just serve a BLT every day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you have a comment, Robert?
Yeah. It's just like what Sherry was saying earlier. I don't know if it was on recording or off, but talking about going to the different yogurt places, where you get into the habit of doing a thing. So like coming to this area to eat. So if we had more restaurants, you get in the habit of coming this area to eat. It doesn't matter if you're going to one restaurant or another, you're just coming here. And, that's sort of what we want to inspire is a place where we can come to.
This has been an inspiring conversation, and we'll hear the rest of it in just a moment. But before we do that, I want to tell you about a company that has been helping Fremont be better and better for over 65 years. Dale Hardware has been helping people make Fremont their home for generations, and they are still doing it today. Dale has a lot of opportunities for everyone, and so whether you're working on a project at home, whether you're building something for school, or whether you're trying to learn something new, Dale Hardware is a place where you can do all of these things and much, much more. You can find out about some of the community events coming up through their social media. Or better yet, why don't you just come on out to the store on Thornton Avenue and discover how Dale can help you make the place that you live a little better. Now back to our conversation. Let me ask the rest of you, when you think about what Better Block is bringing to the community on this weekend coming up, it's September
8th and 9th.
9th and 10th. It's a Friday night. It's a Friday night and a Saturday, 9th and 10th. And if you're listening to this 3 years from now, this is 2022, just in case.
Don't show up.
Don't put it on your calendar if it's 2028.
Well, hopefully do put it on your calendar.
There you go. Yeah. So hopefully we'll make a difference, and it'll be a new community. Yeah. So on September 9th and 10th, Friday evening, Saturday afternoon, late morning, Saturday early afternoon. What are some of the things that really grabbed each of your attention about this event that maybe gave you hope or gave you interest in being a part of the community or the committee that's bringing this together?
What attracted me was the art, because there's going to be mural on the road, and there'll be an art wall where artists and art students can show their work. And Kristen, who's part of the Better Blog, who's organizing this, who's spearheading this, she approached me asking me to take charge of the art wall. And I approached the high school, the art department, and asked them if they would be interested in showing. So get the younger community involved, and they are very excited about having people and community come and see the art and what they do at school. And it's going to be a fun event with lots of student volunteers, community volunteers coming and helping with the mural, with the different planter boxes and everything, and people are getting involved, and it's fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What else? What else like got you excited about the possibilities through this event?
Well, in the beginning, it was really like it's really hard to kind of wrap our heads around like what it was going to be. Like I heard about this, and I'm like, and they had a survey, so we can everybody whoever wanted to could kind of give input. It's like, what would you like to see there? And then it was like, well, then what? Like, what's the next step? So what really helped me was actually looking at the Better Block website, and they have some videos of things they've done in other parts of the country. And you're like, okay, I could kind of see this, but still, what are we going to do? And then, so I think it was probably through Candace and people through the city and the Better Block, and they came up with, based on the survey, what people would like to see. And a lot of it was kind of like a little marketplace and artwork and gathering spaces. So now there's like a long list, like, and again, it still was like, now what do we do? But like, and then all of a sudden just like started coming together. There's like 30, 40 vendors, I think all local Fremont, ranging from honey, lavender, personal products, some
There's a lot of artists.
food, a lot of artists.
I'm going to be there.
Jams.
I'm going to be
plans. It's going to be like not really a farmer's market, but like a little marketplace. You can see like a pop-up event. So you can see like, wow, people will come and shop and spend money.
That's right.
And then maybe that's some of the data that will be used to entice some businesses to open
great.
and see that.
A little business,
and I think the whole block party idea, especially like after the last few years, people are just like dying to get out of their homes and back out into the community. And so something new and exciting. There'll be some music.
That's great.
I just think it's going to be a great way to get out and seeing something really visual. And the art, like as Durba mentioned, there's going to be like to delineate the space, some cool murals that she's designed that people are going to be painting. And
that's what attracted
really cool.
me. I have an art background.
Okay.
And I graduated with an art degree, and so
wow.
I did set design work. So anyway, so my nonprofit stuff is all production work and stuff like that I used to help raise money for different organizations and help put all that together. And then I had to take a step back.
Yeah.
Pandemic hit, and then I said I don't have that bandwidth anymore. So we used to do concerts here, and everybody go, well, are you bringing him back? Are you bringing him back? Well, let's do this first.
Yeah, right.
Let's take this in small incremental steps.
Yeah.
But the art wall and meeting Durba and her passion and a new artist to me was a new artist, because I know a lot of the Olive Hyde artists, which are wonderful artists, but I wanted some diversity. I wanted to see what could be new, what could inspire. Yeah. And when I heard what she was doing, and then I said, you know what, you need to buy in on this. Enough of this, What
was your first reaction when you heard about the Better Block event?
I thought it was a great idea. Yeah. And Candace knows this. She was at that meeting. And I had been to several of the community meetings that she had been a part of. And I heard a lot of stuff that I already knew. And, we tried this. And my response to that in my head was, yes, but we're coming out of a pandemic, and we all need to see each other again. Yeah. We need human contact again. I lived the whole pandemic every day. I was open every day during the pandemic. I never closed. And yet we shrunk considerably. but we never lost touch with human beings. And a lot of people did. And they had a hard time coming back. And for me, I had a hard time coming back because it was so overwhelming. It seemed so overwhelming, you know, because we were trying to stay alive during all of that. So anyway, the whole concept that, and you know, these people are blessed, these city people. I'm telling you, they are the salt of the earth to sit through community conversation and deal with the community conversation that is very old. And so to see Sherry get involved, because I've known Sherry through our community involvement, and then Derba get involved and actually be eloquent and articulate and thoughtful in how she could help young people be involved in it. I felt like, oh my God, I'm not alone anymore.
That's awesome. Well, you know, it is important. I was just talking about this last weekend with some people. You know, there's something about, I was listening to a podcast on, it was called The Happiness Lab, and they were talking about laugh tracks when they first introduced laugh tracks into TV. And they just talked about the fact that there's a psychology behind it. I can't remember what it was exactly called, like the chameleon effect or something like that, where if you are around, like if you walk into a room and everyone's laughing, you automatically assume that something funny is happening. You will be more inclined to laugh, whether it's funny or not, than you would if you walked into a room and everything was silent. And so they were just mentioning the fact that that's one of the reasons why they have laugh tracks. And they played some TV shows that are, you know, like Big Bang Theory, and they played them without the laugh tracks with just the lines, and they're really stupid. Like it's not really that funny, but because they have the laugh tracks on there, people just join in laughing with them, and they think it's funny. Well, and I think that's that's the way community works as well. You know, one person can try to make a difference, or there can be different voices here, but if they join in together and everyone is being positive and optimistic and forward, and trying to come together to do something, other people see that and they join on in because they feel like there's something good that's going on here. And I think that's what I'm hearing from you, Gail, when you were saying, when you were in these different events or different meetings, and then you started hearing other people speaking up and other people, kind of a different tune to the whole thing, and it started causing people to have more interest. Yeah.
And I saw a lot of new people, and I knew that what I've known for a long time, what the community wanted, but you can't do it by yourself or with just a couple of people.
Yeah.
And to see new people that you've known stepping up and taking responsibility and doing stuff. Yeah. Like Esther coming back and getting involved is huge.
That's great.
I do have to admit, though, I was kind of cynical in the beginning. Not about the weekend, not about the Better Block, but that if anything will come out of it. I've lived anyone who lived in Fremont long enough, you know, oh, we're going to do this. Oh, this is going to happen. And like, I know there've been like multiple times the city has paid a lot of money to hire consultants to bring, what do we need to do to bring in restaurants and retail into the city? And then you never see the results of that. So the worst case is we have a really good weekend and we've all gotten together, we've gotten to know each other, and we have a really fun block party. The best case is really something comes out of this. And whether it's more businesses or like a similar event that we continue to put on periodically on our own, however it turns out. Like it does feel better than when I went into it, that thinking like, oh, you know, it's just kind of that, like, you've been here long enough, I've heard this before.
What are some of the things that you guys, like, as you think about the event, what are some of the things I asked you what you thought about the event when you were first approached with this idea, and then kind of your feelings about the community. But what are some of the things that you would like to see come out of this, or takeaways that you would like to see as a result of this Better Block event?
Well, I'd love to see the community engaged in this. I'd love to see them come out and see that this is an awesome event, and that they are ready for more, so that we could continue this monthly, hopefully. That would be something that would be amazing for it to come out of this, is like a monthly event that people come to and, hang out, spend time, and enjoy themselves.
That's great. What about the rest of you?
Well, to go on that, like that, there's some communities that do like a first Friday or a first Wednesday or something like that. Like that could be really fun. You just know, like whatever night that is, you do something similar, and it could grow over time and obviously morph and change over time. So that'd be cool. And that maybe some more permanent kind of gathering place gets created, whether it's like a plaza with art, and then in that place we can have pop-up vendors or musicians out on nice evenings when those happen in Fremont. And ideally, right, is that some businesses can come out of it. Some brick and mortar businesses can come out of it.
Yeah. Durba?
Yeah, I second what Sherry said. I would love to see, like today, I happen to be in California Avenue in Palo Alto, where the streets have been closed off, and they have restaurants and like outdoor seating and everything, and they have the farmers market over the weekend, and they have music and events in the evening. I would like to see something like that in the long term, and going towards that, with the community involved, with people coming out and just hanging around and interacting, just building the community. That would be great. That would be fun.
Yeah, that's great. Anyone else? Anything else? Candace, what do you think is something that, from your perspective, coming from, I know can't represent everybody that works for the city, but you're here today as a part of this event. What are some of the things that you think would be a benefit to our community from this? And then what are some of the things that the community could step up and do to kind of, perpetuate this and keep it going on in the future?
I think I would just echo a lot of what's been said. And one of the goals that we were hoping would come out of this, which I think has been mentioned here, is, newly engaged people from the committee or from the community who want to keep things going and continue. And I think, Gail can speak to this. There's been a lot of hard work put in from the community over decades through the Mission San Jose Chamber and other groups who've created events like the Christmas tree lighting and the Olive Festival. And so
Even St. Joseph's as well.
Yeah. And so this is just an additional thing to do to that, bring some new people into those events and hope to keep those institutions going forward, while also bringing something additional I think would be great. And so we're really excited about that piece of it. And I think another thing that Better Block is bringing that's really helpful is they know how to put on an event. And so Kristen, who's been mentioned a couple times here, she's managing the event, but she's going to leave a blueprint of all the permits she's applied for and all the contacts we have. And so we're hoping it will make it a lot easier for it to keep going and continue off the ground.
Yeah, and one of the new community members is going to be helping her with writing a sort of manual for us to do this. Right. And that's really exciting.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Mark from Forest and Flower.
Wow, that's great. Well, I think what you guys are doing is amazing. I've mentioned on previous episodes that I live closer to Niles. I spend a lot of my time in Niles, but I enjoy getting up here to Mission San Jose, and I'm actually I'm so much more inspired to be up here with you guys and spend some time in this area, because I do think just hearing your heart and to see the potential of things that are around here is just really, really cool. I'm excited to be at the event. I'm gonna have a little booth set up, and I want to hear other people from the community share their thoughts and their opinions and ideas about the community and what's going on here. And so, if you're listening to this, I would strongly urge you to come out on September 9th and 10th to the Better Block event. And there's going to be so many wonderful things to be a part of. You can come talk with me about your hope for the future of this area in Fremont, and I would love to see you. Durba, what do you have to add?
So I just wanted to add that we still need volunteers in the mornings for the 7th and the 8th to help with the art and the mural and everything. So if you have a little bit of free time, 7th and 8th, 9 to 12, and then 4 to 8 or 9, I believe, come by, especially in the morning hours. It would be great.
Okay. Yeah, so if you are interested in being a part of this, if you've been inspired by what you hear on the podcast, then there are opportunities to be involved in helping this to be a better block. Mm-hmm. And you can come out and join in on those opportunities on the 7th and the 8th, and even during the event itself. So anything else that we want to add to the end before we go?
I just hope everyone has a good time. Everyone who comes out, I hope they enjoy it, and I hope they provide feedback for us so we can keep this event getting better and better.
That's great. Well, thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking
Thank
your
you.
time. And
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's been a great discussion, and I'm looking forward to the event.
You've been listening to the Fremont Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever it is that you listen so you don't miss an episode. And if you're so inclined, leave a kind review so that others can find the podcast. To stay connected with us, you can find links to our social media and other content at thefremontpodcast.com. This episode was hosted, edited, and produced by Ricky B. Music provided through Soundstripe.com. I'm Gary Williams. Join us next week on the Fremont Podcast.
Muggins Media.